Ladies and gentlemen, there's something magnificent about a woman who refuses to stay down. She's not defined by her falls, but by the audacity of her rise. Life has a way of throwing its punches, but a woman who rises after every fall is not an ordinary soul. She's forged in the fire of adversity, polished by tears, and strengthened by a faith that won't quit. Resilience is not something that simply happens to you, it is a choice. In the face of adversity, when the world pushes you to the ground, there comes a moment of truth. You are presented with a decision: will you stay down or will you rise? It is in that moment, that single instant of vulnerability, that resilience is born. It's not about avoiding the fall, because falls will come. Life will not always unfold according to your plans, and hardship will knock on your door when you least expect it. The true test of strength is not in how smoothly you walk through life, but in how you respond when the road gets rocky, when the winds are against you, and when the pressure feels like it will crush you. That's where resilience shines. To choose resilience is to embrace your power in the face of pain. It's the understanding that you may stumble, but you are never defined by the stumble. A woman who chooses resilience knows that setbacks are not permanent, and they are not a reflection of her worth or her potential. They are simply part of the journey. She knows that the darkest moments of life often precede the brightest transformations. The resilience to rise again isn't born from an absence of fear or failure. It's born from the belief that you can do better, you can grow, and you can overcome. Choosing resilience means refusing to be a victim of circumstances. It means recognizing that while you cannot always control what happens to you, you do control how you respond. The power lies in your perspective. It's easy to surrender to despair when things are tough, to let yourself become overwhelmed by life's challenges. But resilience is the ability to lift your head high, to take one more step, even when you don't know how you will make it. It's in that decision to keep moving forward that you reclaim your strength and show the world the depth of your resolve. The choice to be resilient is also a decision to be patient with yourself. Life doesn't always provide quick solutions, and healing doesn't happen overnight. Choosing resilience means recognizing that growth takes time. It's not about instant perfection or pretending to be okay when you're not. It's about showing up every day, even when you feel weak, knowing that each small step forward is a victory. It's about trusting that as long as you keep moving, no matter how slow the pace, you will eventually reach the other side of your struggle. Resilience is also about adaptability. It's about adjusting to the unexpected and pivoting when necessary. A woman who chooses resilience doesn't hold on to rigid expectations or allow herself to be shackled by what was supposed to happen. She's flexible enough to embrace change and bold enough to reinvent herself when needed. She doesn't see obstacles as roadblocks. She sees them as opportunities to discover new strengths, new solutions, and new possibilities. To choose resilience is to tap into the power of your own determination and to refuse to let life's difficulties dictate your future. It's a mindset that transforms adversity into opportunity and challenges into stepping stones. When you choose resilience, you choose to be a force that is unshakable, unbreakable, and unstoppable. You rise again, not because you have no fear, but because you have the courage to keep going despite it. Perseverance is not a trait that some people are born with. It is a quality that is cultivated through action, through consistency, and through a deep, unwavering belief that no matter the obstacles, the destination is worth the struggle. It's the ability to continue even when every part of you wants to quit. Perseverance is the force that propels you forward when the road is unclear, when every step seems harder than the last, and when the finish line feels more like a distant dream than an attainable goal. It's the quiet strength that allows you to weather the storms of life, to stand firm in the face of adversity, and to keep moving even when the weight of the world is bearing down on you. When life gets tough, when challenges arise that seem insurmountable, perseverance is what keeps you moving forward. It's the commitment to the journey, even when the end is not in sight. The truth is, most of us will face moments of doubt, moments when the path seems too steep, when failure seems imminent, and when success feels like an impossible fantasy. But it is in those very moments that perseverance becomes the difference between those who fall short and those who fall short and those who rise above. It is the understanding that success doesn't come instantly or effortlessly. It comes to those who are willing to endure, to keep pressing on despite setbacks, delays, and disappointments. Perseverance requires an incredible amount of mental and emotional fortitude. It's not just about physical endurance, it's about the strength to keep going when your heart is heavy, when your spirit is weary, and when your mind is filled with doubt. It's about waking up every day with a sense of purpose and continuing the work, even when the results don't show right away. It's about understanding that success is often a series of small, seemingly insignificant steps that add up over time. The seeds of greatness are often planted in the soil of struggle, and the fruits of perseverance may take time to bloom, but when they do, they are more rewarding because they are born from persistence. True perseverance also involves a level of flexibility. Sometimes the path you're on may need to be adjusted, and the vision you have for your life may need to be altered. But perseverance doesn't mean stubbornly sticking to a course of action that is no longer serving you. It means the determination to find a new way, to adapt, and to keep your focus on the ultimate goal. It's the ability to see obstacles not as barriers, but as opportunities for growth and learning. When you persevere, you are constantly refining yourself, evolving through each challenge, and becoming better equipped for the next phase of your journey. Perseverance is also the key to unlocking your inner strength. It's easy to believe that you are not capable when things aren't going well, but perseverance reveals a depth of resilience within you that you might not have known existed. Each time you push through, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than you think, and that every difficulty is a stepping stone toward becoming the person you are meant to be. The more you persevere, the more you realize that there is no limit to what you can endure and achieve. In a world that often seeks instant gratification, perseverance is a rare and powerful quality. It's the long game, the commitment to the process, and the belief that every step, no matter how small, brings you closer to the person you are becoming and the life you are creating. When you persevere, you become unstoppable. You become the embodiment of strength, of determination, and of the unwavering belief that no matter how hard the journey may seem, the power to keep going is always within you. Vulnerability is often seen as a weakness, something that exposes you to harm, to rejection, or to disappointment. But in truth, vulnerability is one of the greatest sources of strength a person can possess. It is in those moments of openness, when you allow yourself to be raw, unguarded, and real, that true victory can be found. Vulnerability is not about being fragile, it's about being authentic. It's about standing in your truth, embracing your flaws, and understanding that there is power in your imperfections. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you give the world the chance to see you for who you truly are, and that in itself is a courageous act. The courage to be vulnerable doesn't come easily. It requires letting go of the need for perfection and the desire for control. It means accepting that you can't always hide behind a mask of strength or indifference, and that you don't have to have everything figured out. To be vulnerable is to acknowledge your fears, your pains, and your wounds without shame. It's in this space of openness that healing begins. The act of sharing your struggles with others doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. It allows those around you to see the fullness of who you are, and in turn invites others to embrace their own vulnerability. There is a profound connection that happens when people drop their defenses and open themselves to one another. It creates an environment where growth and transformation are not only possible but inevitable. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you also open the door to deeper self-awareness. You begin to understand your true needs, your desires, and your limitations. You learn to trust yourself, to be at peace with the parts of you that are still healing, and to forgive yourself for the times you've fallen short. Vulnerability teaches you that it's okay to not have all the answers, to not be perfect, and to ask for help when you need it. In fact, the ability to ask for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. It shows that you are aware of your limitations and are willing to embrace support and connection from others. Victory and vulnerability is also about embracing failure as a part of the process. We often fear failure because we associate it with inadequacy, but vulnerability teaches us that failure is not the end, it's simply another step in the journey. To fail and to try again, to make mistakes and learn from them, is a powerful act of vulnerability. It shows that you are willing to risk, to reach beyond your comfort zone, and to grow through your experiences, not in spite of them. Each failure, each misstep is an opportunity to discover a deeper level of strength, resilience, and self-compassion. Vulnerability also invites a deeper connection with others. In a world where many are afraid to show their true selves for fear of judgment or rejection, those who embrace vulnerability become a beacon of hope and inspiration for others. When you are vulnerable, you create a space for others to share their truths as well. And this shared openness fosters genuine connections. It's in these connections that real transformation happens. There is a power in allowing yourself to be seen and heard, not just in the moments of triumph, but in the moments of struggle. It is through our vulnerability that we find our shared humanity. And through this, we realize that we are not alone. The victory in vulnerability comes not when we have it all together, but when we allow ourselves to be imperfect and still rise, still stand tall, and still move forward with courage. It's in those moments of rawness and openness that we discover the depth of our strength, the beauty of our humanity, and the power to create change in ourselves and the world around us. Every fall, every setback, every moment of failure is not simply an unfortunate event in your life. It is, in fact, a lesson waiting to be learned. We often view our struggles as something to be ashamed of, something to avoid or forget, but the truth is that within each fall lies an opportunity for growth, transformation, and self-discovery. Failure is not a punishment, it's a teacher, and if we are willing to listen, it will guide us in ways success never could. When you fall, you are confronted with your limits, your vulnerabilities, and your weaknesses. And in those moments of vulnerability, the potential for growth is limitless. A fall exposes the areas in your life that need attention, that need healing, or that need change. It is through these difficult moments that you learn more about who you truly are, and more importantly, who you are becoming. Each time you fall, you are given a chance to reflect on your choices, your actions, and your beliefs, and to evaluate whether they align with your true purpose. This self-awareness is the foundation for future success. You cannot grow if you are not willing to look at yourself honestly, to recognize the patterns that no longer serve you, and to make the necessary changes to move forward. A fall also teaches you patience. In our fast-paced world, where instant gratification is often prioritized, failure is a reminder that good things take time, and the journey is just as important as the destination. It's in the process of picking yourself up, dusting yourself off, and continuing to move forward that you learn the value of persistence and resilience. Growth is not always linear. It doesn't always happen in a straight line or according to the schedule you set for yourself. Sometimes progress comes through stumbling, through trial and error, and through the willingness to stay the course, even when it's hard. And when you embrace every fall as a lesson, you develop the patience to trust in the process, to believe that each step, no matter how small, brings you closer to where you need to be. Every fall also teaches you the importance of humility. Failure is a humbling experience. It reminds you that you are not infallible, that you are human, and that mistakes are part of the journey. Through failure, you learn to release the need for perfection and embrace the beauty of imperfection. Humility allows you to accept that you don't have all the answers, that you will make mistakes, but that those mistakes do not define you. Instead, they shape you. They carve out space for wisdom, compassion, and understanding to grow within you. As a fall, when viewed through the lens of humility, becomes an opportunity to practice grace both for yourself and for others. Moreover, every fall carries within it the seeds of resilience. When you fall, you may feel defeated, but you are also given the chance to rise. Each time you get back up, you reinforce your inner strength and determination. You realize that you are not defined by your failures, but by your ability to rise again. It's through these moments of rising after each fall that you build a foundation of resilience that prepares you for even greater challenges ahead. The lessons learned from your falls are the building blocks for your future success. The more you fall and rise, the stronger you become, until eventually you realize that nothing in this world can keep you down for long. Finally, a fall teaches you the power of perspective. When you fall, it can feel as though the world is ending, but in reality, each setback is a redirection. Failure is often the universe's way of telling you that you are meant for something greater, that you need to pivot, to try a different path, or to reassess your goals. The lessons you learn through your failures open new doors, offer new perspectives, and introduce you to possibilities you may not have considered before. Failure is not the end of the road, it's a course correction that often leads you to the right path. An unshakable identity is the foundation upon which a person builds their life. It is a steadfast sense of who you are, rooted deeply within you, that remains intact regardless of the circumstances or challenges you face. Life has a way of trying to shift and reshape us through the expectations of others, societal pressures, or the turbulence of failure and success. But when you have an unshakable identity, no external force can alter the truth of who you are. This sense of inner strength and self-awareness is not a luxury. It is essential for surviving and thriving in a world that is constantly changing. The power of an unshakable identity lies in its ability to withstand external judgment, comparison, and criticism. The world is quick to label us, to place us in boxes, and to define our worth based on superficial measures such as appearance, success, or the approval of others. But when you know who you are at your core, these labels lose their power. Your value is not contingent on others' opinions or on meeting arbitrary standards. Your identity is not fragile. It is founded on a deep understanding of your inherent worth. You do not need external validation to feel whole, because your wholeness comes from within. An unshakable identity also gives you the courage to live authentically. It allows you to show up in the world as your true self without fear of rejection or judgment. It's about shedding the masks that society asks you to wear, the facades you've constructed to fit in, and instead embracing the raw, unfiltered version of yourself. When you are secure in who you are, you no longer need to conform to anyone else's idea of success or happiness. You define your own path. Your choices come from a place of clarity and purpose, not from the need to please others or to prove your worth. You are free to pursue your dreams, speak your truth, and live your life according to your values, regardless of how others may perceive you. Another crucial aspect of an unshakable identity is the ability to accept yourself, flaws and all. To have an unshakable identity means recognizing that you are not perfect and that you don't need to be. It's about embracing your imperfections, understanding that they do not diminish your value, but rather add to the richness of your story. When you accept yourself fully, you no longer fear failure or mistakes. Instead of letting them define you, you see them as opportunities for growth, learning, and resilience. Your identity is not shaped by your failures, it is strengthened by them. In this way, your flaws become a source of empowerment. Because they do not diminish who you are, they reveal the depth and complexity of your journey. An unshakable identity also equips you with the strength to handle adversity. Life will throw challenges your way, setbacks, disappointments, heartbreaks, and hardships. But when you know who you are less likely to be broken by these trials. You may bend, you may falter, but you will not break. An unshakable identity provides you with the inner fortitude to weather life's storms. It reminds you that you are not defined by your circumstances, but by how you respond to them. You are not the sum of your setbacks or the reflection of others' opinions. You are a unique, powerful individual with a purpose and a destiny that only you can fulfill. Ultimately, an unshakable identity gives you the freedom to be fully present in your own life. It allows you to make choices that are true to who you are, to take risks without fear of failure, and to love yourself unconditionally. When you have an unshakable sense of self, you are able to embrace life with all its complexities, knowing that no matter what comes your way, you have the strength to remain true to yourself. You are grounded in your own truth, and nothing, no circumstance, no judgment, no challenge can take that away from you. Inspiration is a powerful force that ripples outward, affecting not only those who directly receive it, but also the world around them. When you live your life with purpose, resilience, and authenticity, you become a source of inspiration for others, whether you realize it or not. Your actions, your choices, and the way you rise after every fall serve as a beacon of hope and possibility for those who are watching often, those who need to see someone else overcome struggles in order to believe they can do the same. To be an inspiration is not about being perfect, but about showing others that despite imperfections, setbacks, and mistakes, it's possible to keep moving forward. People need to see that success isn't an overnight achievement, that it's not an easy path, and that everyone has their own battles to fight. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, to face your fears head on, and to keep pursuing your dreams despite the obstacles, you send a powerful message to those around you. If she can do it, so can I. Inspiration often comes from the most unlikely places. It's not necessarily the person who has the most obvious success or the loudest voice, but the one who quietly, consistently perseveres despite the odds. It's the single mother working two jobs to provide for her children. It's the student who struggles academically but never gives up. It's the person who battles illness but still finds joy in life. Inspiration is in the everyday moments of determination, resilience, and courage. The way you choose to show up every day, even when it's hard, leaves a mark on others and encourages them to find the strength within themselves to keep going. The impact of being an inspiration is that it lifts others out of their own doubts and gives them the courage to step into their own potential. Sometimes the hardest part of any journey is simply starting, and when others see you take that first step, even when it's uncertain, even when you're afraid, they are inspired to do the same. Your courage becomes contagious. When you share your struggles and triumphs, you show others that their own challenges don't have to stop them from moving forward. You remind them that they are not alone, and that no matter how many times they fall, there is always a chance to rise again. Being an inspiration also means leading by example, not just in times of victory, but in moments of failure. When you stumble and yet find the strength to rise, you teach others how to face their own failures with grace. You teach them that failure is not the end, but simply a stepping stone on the path to success. You teach them that the power isn't in avoiding mistakes, but in learning from them, growing from them, and using them as fuel to keep going. The beauty of inspiring others is that you never know the full extent of your impact. The small gestures, the quiet acts of resilience, the way you handle hardship, all create a ripple effect that extends far beyond your immediate circle. Your story becomes a silent encouragement to those who need it the most. When someone sees you rise, they begin to believe in their own ability to rise as well. Ultimately, inspiration is a gift that keeps on giving. When you live in a way that inspires others, you are not only empowering them to be their best selves, but you are also contributing to a greater collective strength. The more people who choose to rise, to overcome, and to embrace their potential, the more the world becomes a place of limitless possibility. Your strength becomes part of a larger movement, a shared energy that lifts up everyone in its wake. Through your example, you create a space where others can also find their voice, step into their power, and begin to inspire the world in turn. In every fall, there is a lesson, and in every challenge, there is the potential for growth. The strength to rise after each setback is a reflection of an unshakable identity, rooted in the belief that we are capable of overcoming whatever life throws our way. It is in our vulnerability, our willingness to show up as our authentic selves, that we find the greatest power to inspire others. The victories that come from perseverance, resilience, and the courage to keep going despite the odds are not just personal triumphs, they are a light for others to follow. When we embrace our imperfections, face our failures, and keep moving forward with purpose, we offer the world a reminder that no matter how many times we fall, there is always a chance to rise. Through this, we inspire those around us to believe in their own strength and to live boldly, knowing that their journey too can lead them to greatness.